All right, hey everybody, my name is Jake Woodfin. I am your church planning missionary to San Francisco, and this is an update video about everything that's gone on over the last few months. Now listen, over the last couple months, we've had one of the hardest times in our entire ministry, not here in San Francisco, but entire ministry of the last decade. I'll just tell you a short version. I made another longer version of the video, but the short version is this. We had a man that basically was on attack, just trying to do everything in his power to destroy my family and to destroy our church through just almost constant daily harassment, through the spreading of lies and slander. It has been horrific and terrible. But God was there through it all. It was in the middle of this time when I prayed to God, and in the middle of this desperation, I was such a dark moment where I prayed and I looked up to God and I said, God, I need a win. I need something to go right. And almost immediately, I regretted that prayer because God started to flash through my mind, almost like a never-ending Instagram feed, story after story after story of people in our church who God was reaching. Like a story of a man that had been wrapped up in a cult for most of his life, and yet he is now finding faith and family renewed in our church. Or a story of a young couple that was saved this past year who have now reached out to their unsaved family in Mexico who are now attending church every week because of their witness. Or stories of how we celebrated a big day at church with over 20 guests in attendance. Or stories of how this young man that I am now training and discipling and helping to grow in ministry, how he is also taking on different ministries. He put on his own outreach that I charged him to do, where we were able to give out over 500 different invitations to church and gospel tracts and engage with our community in amazing ways. And God is not just doing great things like that here in our church, but also in our city, as there's Bible study clubs that are getting started up in the public schools and they're just spreading like rampant wildfire. There's also people getting saved in other churches. There's people around the world as missionaries are going out and they're getting saved, and people, the church of God is not dying or dead. It is still growing and it is still phenomenal. And in response to that prayer, God, I need a win. It was almost like the Lord said, you need a win? Really? I'm pretty sure I've given you more than a few. You know, God, that's all he does. That's all he does is win, 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 no matter what. And even in that darkest moment in our ministry, God reminded me he's still active. He's still working. He's still on the throne. And he also reminded me of you guys. You know, I want to say honestly, you can watch the longer video to kind of get more details, but it was during that dark time that God put you all in our hearts and our minds. And honestly, when we felt such an attack, Haley and I looked at each other multiple times and said, do you want to just quit and give up and move on? Like, let's just be done with this. But it was honestly God putting you guys in my mind. Then the fact that I knew that there's hundreds of people in churches all across our nation that are supporting us, that are praying for us, that want to see God still do a great work here in the city of San Francisco. And that gave me so much hope and so much courage, and I felt so much love from that. Even though you guys didn't know everything that was going on, God used you to make a difference in that dark time for us. And so thank you guys for that. You know, I can't wait to see how God is going to continue to use us here in San Francisco, and how God is going to, now that we've kind of moved past this dark time, how God is going to just continue to bring the wins and the victories for his glory, for our good, and for the good of San Francisco. I love you guys. Thank you so much for your prayers and support. And if you have any more questions or anything, please feel free to reach out, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, bye.